Dead, they announced with smiles, but I walked back into their lives. Unforgiven. Marcus Brennan sits in a sterile medical facility, disoriented and weak, when a nurse casually mentions the memorial service happening today. Confused, Marcus asks, whose memorial? The nurse's face pales. Yours, Mr. Brennan. Through a smuggled phone, Marcus watches a live stream of his own funeral in Ashford Hills. The town square is packed. His business partner, David Chen, stands at the podium with perfectly rehearsed grief, announcing Marcus's tragic passing during a medical emergency. The crowd murmurs sympathy, but Marcus notices what others miss: the relieved smiles quickly hidden, the too smooth transitions of power, the way his daughter-in-law Claire touches David's arm with familiar comfort. His son, Garrett, reads a eulogy that sounds like it was written by committee. Cold. Distant. Final. Marcus realizes with chilling clarity. They didn't wait for him to die. They simply decided he already had. Emotional gut punch. The protagonist witnesses his own erasure in real time. Cliffhanger. Marcus makes a decision: he won't correct them. Not yet. We rewind to see how it started. Marcus, 72, was still the majority shareholder of Brennan Development, the company that built half of Ashford Hills. At a board meeting, he refused to approve a controversial land deal that would displace low-income families. David Chen and Garrett argued it was necessary progress. Marcus called it greed. The vote was deadlocked. Marcus held the deciding power. That night, at a town gala celebrating Ashford Hills' 50th anniversary, Marcus was asked to speak. Mid-speech about the town's founding values, someone cut his microphone. Laughter rippled through the crowd. Councilman Richard Voss joked, "Maybe we should have a time limit for the history lesson, folks." Someone in the crowd said it loud enough to hear. "Sit down, old man." Marcus sat. The humiliation wasn't the insult, it was how quickly everyone looked away. Emotional escalation. We see the systematic disrespect building. Twist reveal. The cruelty wasn't random, it was coordinated. David and Garrett exchange a knowing glance. Cliffhanger. That same night, Marcus feels unwell. Claire insists on calling an ambulance. Marcus wakes in a private medical wing, heavily sedated. His memory is foggy. Hours or days have passed. He overhears doctors discussing the family's concerns about cognitive decline. But Marcus was fine. He had a dizzy spell, nothing more. A lawyer appears with papers. Marcus, confused and medicated, is told their routine health directives. He signs, barely able to focus. Within 48 hours, his medical power of attorney is transferred. His business voting rights are suspended pending mental evaluation. His assets are frozen for his protection. Garrett files a declaration of diminished capacity. Marcus, now lucid, demands to leave. He's told he's under observation per family request. When he insists he's fine, a doctor calmly suggests that's exactly what someone in cognitive decline would say. He's trapped not by locks but by paperwork. Emotional devastation. Agency stolen through legal manipulation. Twist reveal. Marcus finds discharge papers in a trash bin dated 3 days ago. He was supposed to be released. Someone countermanded it. Cliffhanger. Late at night, Marcus is transferred to a different facility. No one explains why. Marcus wakes in a long-term care facility, the kind where families send people to be forgotten. His room has no personal items. His phone is gone. He's listed under a slightly misspelled name. Marcus Brennan. Watching through a cracked door, he overhears staff discussing the new patient in 34 family said he's got no one. That night, voices echo from the hallway outside his room. He recognizes them. David, Garrett, and Claire. They think he's asleep. David, the memorial's scheduled for Thursday. Claire, what if someone asks to see him? Garrett, coldly, they won't. Dad made enemies. People will believe he's gone. David, and if Marcus somehow... Garrett, he wouldn't understand anyway. Look at him. They don't even check if he's listening. Marcus lies perfectly still, heart pounding, as the truth crashes over him. They've already killed him. They're just waiting for his body to catch up. Emotional core. The murder of identity before the murder of body. Twist reveal. This wasn't improvised. They've been planning this for months. Cliffhanger. A young nurse named Sophie enters the room after they leave, sees Marcus's eyes wide open and whispers, "You heard them, didn't you?" We return to Chapter 1 livestream, but now with full context. Sophie smuggled Marcus the phone, risking her job. Together, they watch the performance in Ashford Hills. The camera pans across the crowd. Former business associates nodding solemnly, town officials offering hollow praise, neighbors who once borrowed tools from Marcus now acting as though he was a distant memory. The land deal Marcus blocked, announced during the memorial's closing remarks. David Chen presents it as honoring Marcus's legacy of development, the exact opposite of what Marcus wanted. The vote passes unanimously. As the crowd disperses, Sophie films their faces on her own phone. "No one looks sad," she says quietly. Marcus watches Garrett shake hands with Richard Voss, both men smiling. Sophie asks, "What do you want to do?" Marcus's voice is calm, colder than she's ever heard. "I want to stay dead." Emotional shift. From victim to strategist. Twist reveal. Marcus realizes being dead gives him something he never had: invisibility and freedom. Cliffhanger, Sophie asks. "And then what?" Marcus replies, "Then I make them confess to a dead man." 2 months pass. Marcus remains dead. Sophie helps him move to a small rental 3 towns over, paid in cash. He grows a beard, loses weight, looks nothing like the man in the memorial photos, but he's not hiding, he's hunting. Sophie becomes his eyes and ears in Ashford Hills. She's a nursing student, unknown to Marcus's circle, invisible to them. She takes a part-time job at the coffee shop across from Brennan Development's office. She listens. People talk freely around the dead. She learns. The land deal is just the beginning. David and Garrett are selling off Marcus's legacy properties one by one, pocketing profits through shell companies. Councilman Voss gets kickbacks. Claire is David's silent partner and more than that. She and David have been involved for over a year. Marcus listens to Sophie's recordings each night. No anger, just cold, methodical note-taking, emotional restraint. Marcus becomes the strategist, not the victim. Twist reveal. Sophie discovers a deleted email thread. They didn't just declare Marcus dead, they researched how to do it. One email from Garrett, dated 6 months before the funeral, asks a lawyer, hypothetically, how long can someone be institutionalized before they're legally considered incapacitated? Cliffhanger. Sophie finds a newer email dated 1 week ago. The old man's assets are almost fully transferred. One more signature and it's done. Anonymous disruptions begin in Ashford Hills, small at first. A town hall meetings projector mysteriously displays an old photo of Marcus alive, healthy, taken just weeks before his death. It flickers for seconds, then vanishes. Technical glitch, they say. Old business contracts Marcus signed begin appearing in unlikely places, photocopies left on windshields, slipped under office doors. The signatures are verified as recent. At a charity gala, someone plays a voicemail recording over the sound system. Marcus's voice, calm and clear, leaving a message for his accountant about reviewing irregularities in the company books. The timestamp? 3 weeks after his funeral. David laughs it off publicly. Old recordings, obviously, but privately, fear spreads. Garrett drinks more. Claire avoids David's calls. Voss suggests they need to make sure everything's airtight. Sophie captures their unraveling on hidden recordings. Emotional escalation. The conspirators turn on each other. Twist reveal. Some townspeople begin to whisper, "What if Marcus isn't dead?" Cliffhanger. Late one night, David visits the medical facility where Marcus was last kept. He demands to see records. The staff tells him, "Marcus Brennan was transferred out months ago. Discharged. We assumed family picked him up." David's face drains of color. Marcus doesn't reveal himself yet, but his lawyer does. A prestigious firm from the state capital files a lawsuit on behalf of Marcus Brennan, wrongfully declared deceased. The suit names David, Garrett, Claire, and Councilman Voss. Charges include fraud, conspiracy, elder abuse, and unlawful asset seizure. The town erupts. News vans arrive. Social media explodes. But here's the twist. No one has seen Marcus. His lawyer refuses to say where he is, only that Mr. Brennan is very much alive and will appear when he's ready. David and Garrett hold a press conference calling it a sick hoax by opportunists. They present the death certificate, the medical records, the facility transfer forms. Everything looks legitimate. But Sophie, working behind the scenes, leaks one damning piece of evidence to a local journalist. The email thread where Garrett researched institutionalization tactics. The timestamp proves premeditation. Public opinion shifts. Some still doubt, but others begin to question. What if they really did fake his death? Emotional tension. The truth surfaces, but doubt lingers. Twist reveal. The journalist digs deeper, and finds Garrett made a mistake. Marcus's death certificate was filed before the medical facility recorded his final transfer. The timeline doesn't match. Cliffhanger. A judge orders an emergency hearing. Marcus must appear in person to verify his identity or the lawsuit is dismissed. The courtroom is packed. News cameras line the walls. David, Garrett, Claire, and Voss sit at the defense table, confident. They believe this is a bluff. The judge asks the plaintiff's lawyer, "Where is your client?" The back doors open. Marcus Brennan walks in. The room goes silent. Garrett's face turns white. Claire gasps. David grips the table. Marcus looks different, thinner, older, weathered but unmistakably alive. He walks slowly to the witness stand, every step deliberate. He doesn't speak immediately. He just looks at them. Then, in a calm voice, Marcus recounts everything. The orchestrated humiliation, the illegal institutionalization, the forged documents, the assets stolen, the memorial held while he watched from a stranger's bed. Sophie enters as a witness, presenting months of recordings. Garrett laughing about putting the old man away. Claire and David discussing how to speed things up. Voss negotiating his kickback percentages. But Marcus saves the final blow. He plays a recording from the hallway of the care facility. Garrett's voice, cold and clear. He wouldn't understand anyway. The room erupts. The judge calls for order. Emotional payoff. The confrontation is quiet, devastating, and undeniable. Twist reveal. Garrett's lawyer tries to argue Marcus consented to the transfers. Marcus produces a toxicology report. He was heavily sedated with medications he never needed during the signings. The consent was coerced. Cliffhanger. As the hearing ends, Garrett stands and shouts, "You should have stayed dead." The courtroom gasps. It's a confession on record. Criminal charges follow. Garrett is arrested for fraud and elder abuse. David faces conspiracy charges. Claire loses her professional license. She was a real estate agent who helped falsify documents. Councilman Voss resigns in disgrace before formal charges hit. Some beg for forgiveness. Garrett writes a letter to Marcus from jail claiming he got in over his head, that David manipulated him. Claire sends flowers with a note. "I'm so sorry. I was weak." Marcus reads every apology. He responds to none. At a press conference, a reporter asks, "Mr. Brennan, will you forgive your family?" Marcus's answer is calm, final. "Forgiveness is earned. Apologies are not amends. They wanted me gone. They should have made sure I stayed gone." The town is divided. Some call Marcus cold. Others call him justified. But everyone agrees. Ashford Hills will never be the same. Emotional complexity. Revenge without cruelty, but also without mercy. Twist reveal. Sophie reveals one final recording. Weeks before Marcus's death, Garrett had discussed a backup plan. If Marcus recovered and fought back, they would claim he was mentally unstable and institutionalize him permanently. The cruelty ran deeper than anyone knew. Cliffhanger. The court rules in Marcus's favor. All assets are returned. But Marcus makes an unexpected announcement. "I'm leaving Ashford Hills forever." Marcus sells Brennan Development not to David or Garrett, but to a non-profit focused on affordable housing. The land deal they push through. Marcus uses his restored authority to reverse it, relocating the development to an abandoned industrial site instead. He liquidates other properties, donating millions to elder advocacy groups and legal aid organizations. So the next person they try to bury will have a voice, he says. Garrett is sentenced to 5 years. David gets 3. Claire and Voss face financial penalties and probation. But Marcus's final move shocks everyone. He signs over the family home, the house where Garrett grew up, to Sophie. "You gave me my life back. Now build yours." Sophie, overwhelmed, asks, "What will you do now?" Marcus smiles, a real smile, for the first time in the story. "I'm going to live." Emotional catharsis, justice without bitterness, freedom without revenge. Twist reveal. Marcus reveals he's been in contact with other families who faced similar elder abuse. He's funding a foundation in Sophie's name to expose and prevent it. His suffering becomes a shield for others. Cliffhanger transition. As Marcus prepares to leave town, he receives one final, unexpected visitor. The visitor is an elderly woman named Ruth, someone Marcus hasn't seen in decades. She was his first love, before he married, before Ashford Hills, before everything. She read about his story in the news. "I always wondered what happened to you," she says. They talk for hours. She lives in a coastal town, quiet and far from everything. She invites him to visit. No pressure, she says. Just an old friend offering a place to rest. Marcus accepts. In his final moments in Ashford Hills, Marcus visits his own grave, the memorial stone David erected for appearances. He stands there alone, reading the inscription. Beloved father, visionary leader, forever remembered. He places a single flower on the stone, then walks away. Months later, Sophie receives a postcard. No return address. Just a photo of a beach at sunset and a single line in Marcus's handwriting. I buried the man they wanted me to be. I'm finally living as the man I am. Sophie pins it to her wall, next to her nursing degree and the keys to her new home. The story ends not with revenge but with rebirth.